All right. I need to talk about this story surrounding Taylor Lorenz that appeared, I guess, on one of these like NBC or something like that, complaining that they're harassed by conservatives, and that she considers herself more of a liberal-leaning journalist. I just need folks to understand I don't really care about this whole left, right, liberal, conservative thing. That's really not important to me. I've been on both sides of this spectrum as far as my personal beliefs go to see where the flaws in the logic are amongst nearly everybody. I tend to just try to keep my perspective kind of balanced and not get excessively motivated through people's emotional arguments. And that tends to be what I find from all sides is there's emotional arguments, and that we don't sometimes just take a look at all the information as a whole before we evaluate. And so the reason why I find Taylor Lorenz so, I guess, troubling is because I can see that this is a person that is really working people's emotions big time. A lot of crocodile tears, a lot of, fake emotions, all supported by the mainstream media cycle that's really aggressively trying to demonize anybody that just challenges the narrative right now. And guys, I mean, yeah, if you identify as conservative, they're going to come at you harder, but you don't exclusively have to. It's just simply people that are questioning the narrative, and they come from all walks of life. Left, right, libertarian, doesn't really matter. The point is, if you speak truth to what's actually going on, and it challenges the mainstream media narrative, they're going to send these people after you aggressively. You need to understand that. But everybody else needs to start understanding what their tactics and their methods are. Taylor Lorenz is classic this. I'm going to explain what this is. Her name, more than likely supplied by one of these groups. Again, don't know for a fact, but I've seen this so many times. The name just goes, are you sure you were born with that name? Tail, follow, lore, that's a story or a lie. A tale is also a story. Notice how they like to double up those things. Tail, lore, Renz. She tails people, she follows them, she tells stories. Then YL is in her name because she does it loudly because that primes your emotions. Tails, yells, lore. Okay? Lies. That's how it works. Where does this go back to? If I had to bet money on it, Oddfellow Rebecca. Look into my material. You can find it on my channel about occultism in America, and how that relates back to Operation Paperclip. What you have right now, folks, is that they know the truth is about to come out. And so anytime something's going to dismantle the disinformation system that's existed in this country for many, many years, they will go on double, triple overtime to disinform and misinform on all of the good people that are just, putting themselves out there and giving good information. And so I put on Twitter a series of slides, and I'm probably going to post some of them later on. But yeah, what you're looking at there, if you ask me, is classic this. And so there's a person on Twitter right now that's being aggressively, I guess, harassed and being doxxed. And this woman, Taylor Lorenz, who claims that this happened to her by ugly conservatives, well, she's going around doing it to people that identify as conservative and playing the victim. And of course, because it fits the MSNBC type news cycle narrative, they just can't wait to put this person on TV with their tears and their yelling and everything else like that, because it gets the emotions of men, and then men will want to defend Taylor. And of course, they're going to make her nice and pretty and everything else like that. So the guys will go like, hey, you can't do that. That's wrong. Well, you're being played. All right. Just so you know, you need to get that. These people are all over the place, and I kind of know where they lead back to. It's really just a series of bloodlines that once you dig deeper into who they really are, once you get past the fake names, you're going to find out that there's a whole series of these families that were brought into Southern Oregon and Northern California in 1945 as some extension of Operation Paperclip that does have official paperwork associated with it, but nobody talks about it. Like, you can go out to Tule Lake segregation facility where these Nazi POWs were, but you don't really know, a whole lot of official information if you look it up on Wikipedia. And What I've learned is that basically this has become the sort of like the secret counterculture, the secret liberal system that actually has roots back to Operation Paperclip, Nazi SS. And so they would have children and grandchildren, and they would have these almost like farms of these genetics, where they were raising them on farms, having these large families, but it was really just a way for the SS soldiers that came into the United States to extend the Lebensborn program. And that was a program they did in Norway that was just them spreading their genetics far and wide so that they would have influence over all the next generations and continue on the belief system. That translates over to our mainstream media cycle, media ownership. Nearly all of these groups, if you really dig deeper into it, you can associate it back to von Braun, NASA, because then you've got, everything to do with how we receive our information and the influence that he had at the very beginning from the people that manage our information from satellites down to here. I want you to think about what I just told you. You can't even get most channels nowadays without the use of these broadcast satellites. The organization that was really in charge of putting things into space was run by Nazi SS Werner von Braun, who to this day, people just whitewash his Nazi SS history and go like, well, he wasn't a real one, you guys. Wow, does that narrative sound familiar to you? Where they're trying to get you to like warm up to somebody's actions despite their Nazi backgrounds? Get it? So it's just something for you to consider before you immediately jump to conclusions on what's going on. Thanks.